How's it going, everyone? It is K Lumity here, and today I'm going to be talking about a game that I've wanted to talk about for a long time, but it's really difficult to talk about because, one, it's really easy to spoil. Two, the game is incredibly messed up and dark, so I can't really recommend it to people because of how dark it is. And three, it is a visual novel, and all of its stuff is all basically story. It's all storytelling. So I can really only talk about the themes of this game and some of the beginning stuff without diving too much into it. This is a visual novel that does a great job with presenting itself as a cutesy story and truly is something absolutely horrific underneath. This game is Doki Doki Literature Club Plus on the Xbox Series X, and I'm glad that this is on console. When it came out on PC, I was really jealous of everyone else who got to play it before I did because this game it looked amazing in terms of its writing, and its writing honestly is some of the best writing in any visual novel I've ever played, especially because of how well it does foreshadowing. You see, this entire game is about your character joining a club with a few other members. There's four other members, and basically writing poems with the other characters. And you can actually choose what you write about. And you have four other characters in this game. You have the club president, Monica, and she's probably the most interesting character. You have Sayori, who is the childhood friend. You have Natsuki, I think is how you say her name. And she is kind of like the tsundere character. And then you have Yuri, and Yuri is what I would consider to be the yandere of the group for sure. She's quiet, and she's a little bit more disturbed than some of the other characters. But you get to meet these characters, and you can write poems with them, and you can pick key words whenever it has these little writing portions, and you select these key words to basically gain affinity with whatever character you want to get close to. And it's a really cool system. I've never seen any other visual novel do that well. Like, I've never seen any visual novel have this kind of like affinity system built in this way where it works so well. The writer did a fantastic job with that, and I absolutely love the way that it works. And it works perfect for the story, of course, since you are in a literature club after all. And you can get close to one of three girls. You can get close to either Sayori, Natsuki, or Yuri, and depending on what you write, you can get closer to them. And the interesting thing is that some of the keywords go to characters that you wouldn't expect them to go to. And it's kind of how it helps with some of its foreshadowing, right? Because all of these characters have some baggage. They all have something that holds them back. They all have their own secrets and their own struggles. And not only can you see that whenever you're writing a poem and you're picking the key words, but then you also see it in their writing, because you get to read the poems that they're writing as well. And the foreshadowing in their poems and the depth of the characters, where you get to actually see how deep these characters are and how well written they are, is just honestly fantastic. And even though you can't build affinity with Monica, Monica is probably like the most important character in the entire game. And when you read her poems, her story just unravels more and more and more as well. Her story is amazing because you really see some really interesting writing about just existential dread and self-awareness, and it's very interesting how it's done. And I don't want to go too much into it because I don't want to get into spoilers, but if you are interested in stories that are, that talk about kind of self-awareness and things gaining self-awareness that probably shouldn't be able to, if you are interested in that sort of stuff and you're interested in, this kind of manipulative writing where it's going to do things that will definitely mess with you. It's a psychological horror game before anything else. It may have this cutesy look to it, but at its core, once everything hits the fan, it hits it hard, and it goes. It's like a roller coaster. It takes off and it goes fast, and it is very disturbing. It's very messed up, but it's incredibly well written. And the dark scenes in this game are 100% messed up, but there is a method to the madness. It all makes sense in the grand scheme of the story, and it makes for not only one of the most disturbing and horrific visual novels I've ever played, but also one of the most well-written ones. This game is so devious because it knows that you are going to get close to these characters by reading their poems and just getting to know these characters. It knows that you're going to get close to them, and it knows what to do to break your heart. And this game it's very good at that. And it gives you choice. It gives you kind of choice, but at the end of the day, I will say it's kind of like the illusion of choice. At the end of the day, all roads lead to one, and that's as far as I'm going to say with that. Because if I say anything else, it would be a spoiler. But you do get still some different, like scenes depending on which character you choose and stuff like that, and which character you're getting closer affinity with. But like I said, everything all really goes to one at the end, and it's just a fantastic roller coaster ride. It's a very well written story. And in terms of the way that this game looks fantastic. Love the art style. And the thing is that usually whenever it comes to any sort of these, Western games that are made to look like anime, I'm usually not a huge fan of that because I would prefer Western developers, make their own style instead. But I honestly overlook it for this game just because of how well written this game is and how fantastic this game is. This is one of the few Western visual novels that is just absolutely fantastic. I've played quite a few at this point, and none of them have ever even lived up to this. This one is just so darn good. One of the things that this game starts to do is as you play it, things start deteriorating a little bit, and it knows how to do just things, sometimes subtle things, to just mess with you. It knows how to like mix up the words, change the words from things that you have read in the past, and it knows how to just freak you out. And it does a good job of just basically enhancing the madness as you were playing this game. And like I said, this is one of the best psychological horror games, if not the best psychological horror game ever made. It is that darn good. I will give it credit where credit is due. And just everything about this game, the atmosphere, the music, the settings, and the little prompts that you get even in the main menu when you're first starting the game up, it's so good. Everything about this game is so good, and I wish I could recommend that everyone play it, but it's not something that everyone should play. I need to put that out there because this is a fantastic game, but it's so dark. It is so dark, and if you have any struggles with depression, I highly recommend that you avoid this game at all costs, because this game, while it is fantastic and it's very well written, it is not worth your mental health. Nothing is worth that. So please be careful and do not play this game if you struggle with any sort of depression or anxiety or stuff like that. I think it's best if you struggle with that stuff, please avoid this game. I'm basically begging you at this point. Do not play this game if you are struggling with that sort of stuff, because this game gets into dark topics and it goes hard into them. Okay, so I'll leave it there. But I do love this game. I think it's a fantastic game, and I have to give credit where credit is due. This is one of the best written games ever made. And I'm just, honestly, even when it comes to visual novels, I don't know many visual novels that are written as well as this. This is like, honestly, like, I know that this hit mainstream, and people may avoid it just because it hit mainstream, but just because it hit mainstream, let me tell you, it's still, it hit that for a reason. It hit that because it is so well written, and it honestly deserves its place as kind of like one of the most recognizable names in visual novels. So that's where I'm going to leave this review. I love this game. I'm not going to recommend it because I don't want to recommend it and someone play it and they have depression or something like that. I don't want to do that to somebody, but all I can say is that I do enjoy this game. It is messed up. It's fantastically messed up. It is disturbing beyond belief, but it is still so well done. And this cutesy, facade that it has going on, it knows how to pull it off. It does a complete rug pull on you, and it does a fantastic job of doing it. So I'm going to leave it there. But thank you guys for watching. If you enjoyed this video, hit the like button, subscribe button down below. I'll talk to you next time. You have a wonderful day. Bye-bye.